Love X Revenge. Welcome to Love X Revenge, where passion collides with betrayal, and those who think they've won too early learn that the heart remembers everything. Today's story is about money, pride, and the dangerous mistake of underestimating a woman who has nothing left to lose. I can already picture her face when she finds out there's no money left. My husband sneered, his lips twisting into a smug grin as he tapped his phone screen. Let her panic for once. He didn't even try to hide it. I stood in the kitchen doorway, a dish towel still in my hands, and watched him finish transferring his entire salary to his mother. Again, the notification sound chimed softly. Transaction completed. He leaned back on the couch, satisfied, as if he had just accomplished something heroic instead of sabotaging his own household. Sergey, I said quietly, forcing calm into my voice, the mortgage is due tomorrow. He shrugged without looking at me. You'll figure it out. You always do. I had. For 3 years, I had figured it out. When we married, Sergey promised partnership. We both worked, we both contributed. His mother, however, had other plans. According to her, I was merely temporary. Blood was permanent. At first, it was small things. Mom needs help with utilities this month. Mom's fridge broke. Mom deserves a little vacation. Each time, I agreed. Family supports family, right? But slowly, his support became obligation. Then loyalty. Then worship. And I became the outsider in my own marriage. By the second year, his entire paycheck was going straight to his mother's account. He said she managed money better. That she understood real sacrifices. Meanwhile, I covered rent, groceries, car payments, insurance. When I protested, he laughed. You earn enough. Why are you so dramatic? Dramatic. I stared at him now, remembering every dismissed conversation. Sergey, I tried again, we don't have savings. He smirked. Sure we do. No, we don't. He waved his phone. Mom does. That was the moment something inside me shifted. I stopped arguing. Instead, I nodded slowly. Of course, I said softly. You're right. He looked almost disappointed that I didn't fight back. That night, after he fell asleep, I opened my laptop. For months, I had been quietly documenting everything. Every transfer, every message, every time he stated clearly that he would not contribute to our shared expenses. I wasn't stupid. I was patient. The apartment we lived in wasn't his. It wasn't ours. It was mine, purchased before marriage, fully paid with the inheritance my grandmother left me. I had added his name to nothing. He assumed marriage gave him equal claim. He assumed wrong. The next morning, I called the bank and changed the password to my online account. Then I scheduled an appointment with a lawyer. By the end of the week, I knew exactly where I stood legally. Very solid ground. 2 months passed. Sergey continued sending his salary to his mother, laughing occasionally about how I must be stretching coins. He had no idea I had stopped stretching. I had stopped paying for him. Groceries. I bought enough for one. Utilities. I paid only what was required to maintain the property legally. His car insurance. I quietly removed myself from the shared policy. When the internet bill came due, I downgraded the plan and changed the Wi-Fi password. Why is the connection so slow? He complained one evening. Budget adjustments, I replied calmly. He scoffed. You should learn to manage money better. I nearly smiled. Then the mortgage deadline arrived. Except there was no mortgage. He thought we had one because I had once mentioned considering refinancing for renovations. He never checked documents, never asked details. So when I told him casually at dinner, we need your contribution tomorrow or the bank will start penalties, he rolled his eyes. Not my problem. Ask your rich relatives. I don't have any. He shrugged. Then figure it out. I already sent everything to Mom. She needed a new washing machine. Of course she did. The next day, I didn't pay anything. Because there was nothing to pay. Instead, I visited the lawyer again. I initiated divorce proceedings. The official notice would arrive in a week. When the registered letter finally came, Sergey was in the living room scrolling through his phone. Sign here, the courier said. Sergey signed absent-mindedly. Then he opened the envelope. I watched his face as he read. Confusion, annoyance, then shock. What is this? He demanded. A divorce filing, I answered evenly. He laughed. Very funny. I'm serious. His face darkened. You can't be serious. Over money. Not over money. Over disrespect. He stood up. You're overreacting. No, I said calmly. I'm done reacting. He paced the room. Where am I supposed to go? I tilted my head. To your mother. Since she manages money so well. His jaw tightened. You can't throw me out. I'm not throwing you out. I'm informing you that this apartment is mine. Legally. You have 30 days. He froze. What do you mean yours? It was purchased before marriage. Fully documented. He stared at me as realization slowly dawned. You lied about the mortgage. I never lied. You never asked. For the first time in years, he looked unsure. He grabbed his phone and dialed his mother. I could hear her voice shrill through the speaker. She's bluffing. She needs you. Don't leave. He lowered his voice and moved to the balcony. That evening, he tried a different approach. You're being emotional, he said softly. Let's talk. I tried talking for 3 years. He sighed. Fine, I'll send part of my salary next month. Too late. His confidence cracked. You won't survive alone. I almost laughed. I've been surviving alone this entire marriage. The next weeks were tense. He alternated between anger and charm. One day he slammed doors. The next he brought flowers. I accepted neither. Finally, the court date arrived. He assumed he could claim half the apartment. His lawyer clearly hadn't read the documents carefully. When the judge reviewed the purchase date and inheritance certificate, the outcome was obvious. The apartment remained solely mine. There were no shared savings to divide. Because he had sent everything to his mother. When the judge asked about marital contributions, Sergey hesitated. Well, I supported my mother. The judge raised an eyebrow. And your wife? Silence. The ruling was swift. Divorce granted. No spousal support. No property division in his favor. Outside the courthouse, he looked pale. You planned this, he muttered. No, I replied calmly. You did. He blinked. What does that mean? You chose where your money went. You chose who mattered. A week later, he moved out. His mother refused to take him in permanently. Apparently, her apartment was too small. I heard through mutual acquaintances that he was renting a tiny studio on the outskirts of the city. His salary now covered his own expenses. No savings. No backup. No wife subsidizing his lifestyle. As for me, I replaced the couch he loved so much. I painted the bedroom walls. I upgraded the internet, and for the first time in years, I slept peacefully. 3 months later, he called. I made a mistake, he said quietly. I know. Can we start over? I thought about that smug grin the day he transferred his salary. I can already picture her face when she finds out there's no money left. He had wanted to see me panic. Instead, he watched his own security vanish. There's nothing left to start, I replied. He was silent for a long moment. Mom says you manipulated me. I smiled faintly. No, I said softly. I just stopped saving you from your choices. I hung up. Some people think revenge is loud, explosive, but sometimes, revenge is simply stepping aside and letting someone fall into the hole they dug themselves. Sergey wanted to imagine my face when I discovered there was no money left. What he never imagined was his own reflection in the mirror of consequences. And that was far more satisfying.